The BBQ was supposed to be a simple family gathering, grilled burgers, innocent banter, and laughter. My favorite tradition? Sports arguments. They reminded me of the ties that held our family together. I had spent the morning setting up the yard, making sure everything was perfect. But I had no idea that my wife, Monica, intended to destroy everything I valued. She looked beautiful as ever, navigating the crowd with ease, giggling at jokes, praising the food. From the outside, we seemed like the perfect couple, and I played my role well, welcoming family members, laughing, keeping up appearances. As the night went on, the whispers blended with the sizzling of hamburgers, masking the unease I had carried for months. The late-night phone calls, the unexplained absences. They lingered in the back of my mind, but I pushed them aside. Today was about family, and then Monica tapped her wine glass with a spoon. The chatter died down. She stood in the center of the patio, the warm glow of the lights catching the tension in her face. Her hand trembled slightly as she put the glass down. "Everyone," she said, her voice steady, but her eyes gleaming with something else, stubbornness, conceit. She wasn't about to announce a new job or a vacation. She took a deep breath. "Actually, I've been seeing someone else." Gasps rippled through the crowd. My stomach twisted, but I stayed seated. I refused to give her the reaction she wanted. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw my cousin, Eric. Monica turned to him. His face drained of color. And then the final blow. "We're expecting a child." The words sliced through me. The crowd erupted. Shocked whispers, wide-eyed stares. People glanced at me, waiting for my reaction. Sympathy, judgment. But I wasn't going to give them a show. I took a long sip of my beer, set the bottle down, and then I stood up. Monica's eyes locked onto me, expecting outrage, an accusation, drama. Instead, I smiled, cold, calculated. And then I said, "I hope he enjoys the STD you gave him." Silence. Monica's face froze. Eric looked like he wanted to disappear. I reached into my pocket. For those who were curious, I had proof. A neatly folded stack of documents. I handed them to the nearest relative, who began reading aloud. Not just any papers. Clinic results. The ones I had found weeks ago while cleaning our office. The ones that confirmed, without a doubt, Monica had contracted an STD, one that could only come from adultery. The papers circulated one by one, and with each person who read them, the shock spread like wildfire. Monica lunged to snatch them. I blocked her. "Don't," I said. Eric sputtered something, but I cut him off. Everyone here deserves to know the truth. His gaze darted between Monica and me, realizing his secret wasn't so secret anymore. Monica's mask cracked. "This is cruel, Marcus!" she shrieked, tears welling up. "How could you do this?" I leaned in, just enough for her to hear. "You humiliated me in front of everyone. Don't talk to me about cruelty." The cookout exploded into chaos, relatives arguing, some defending me, some demanding answers from Monica and Eric. My parents pulled me aside, their faces pale. "Is this true?" my mother asked, her voice barely a whisper. I nodded. Monica tried to regain control, calling me petty, but no one listened anymore. Because the truth was louder than her lies. As the sun set and the guests trickled away, the weight lifted from my chest. Monica and Eric couldn't hide anymore. She approached me one last time, tears streaming down her face. But I didn't flinch. "You brought this on yourself," I said simply. Then I walked away. That night, the house was silent, empty. Monica was gone, probably with Eric. I sat at the dining table, where we once shared morning coffee, quiet conversations. Now, that same table held the evidence of her betrayal. I traced my fingers over the clinic notes, her positive test result, glaring under the chandelier's dim light. I had found them by accident. I wasn't even snooping, just organizing. At first, the jargon didn't make sense. Then I saw the name of the disease, my hands shook, my stomach lurched, and suddenly, everything fit. The late nights, the secretive phone calls, the sudden paranoia about her password, the unexplained charges on our credit card, expensive dinners, hotel stays. I had told myself I was overthinking, that I was just being paranoid. But the truth was undeniable, and I needed a plan. Monica wasn't the type to apologize. She would spin the story, shift the blame, paint herself as the victim. So I gathered my evidence. Bank statements, screenshots of suspicious texts, copies of the clinic results stored in multiple places. And then I waited. Ironically, Monica was the one who insisted on hosting the BBQ, said it would bring the family closer. So I gave her exactly what she wanted, a public stage, just not the kind she had in mind. As I sat there that night replaying the chaos, I felt something strange. Satisfaction. Monica thought she could control the narrative. She thought she could make me the villain. But when I handed out those papers, when I watched her confidence crumble, for the first time in months, I saw fear in her eyes. Eric, the so-called Golden boy, looked just as pathetic, and the family? They finally saw the truth. Monica tried to twist it, called me cruel, vindictive. But this wasn't revenge. This was justice. As the exhaustion finally hit me, I folded the documents, placing them back in their folder. The real battle was ahead. Divorce. Property division. Dealing with the fallout. But tonight, the truth was out, and that was victory enough. I checked my phone before heading to bed. Missed calls, texts from Monica, a mix of rage and desperation. How could you do this to me? We need to talk. I ignored them all. She made her choices. Now, she would face the consequences. As I turned off the lights and lay down, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Monica's betrayal had crushed me. But it wasn't the end of my story. Tomorrow, a new chapter began, and I was taking back control. He placed a firm hand on my shoulder. You managed it effectively, son, and you maintained your composure. His remarks about my dignity meant more to me than he likely understood. For months, I had been duped by Monica, feeling foolish due to love and loyalty. But yesterday, I regained my power in front of everyone. And then, I recognized Eric. He would eventually get in touch. And when his name appeared on my phone, I couldn't contain my laughter. I played the message. Marcus, we need to talk. Eric's voice was tense, almost desperate. I put the phone on voicemail. Moments later, another message played. What you did was inappropriate, and you're embarrassed. You didn't need to broadcast Monica and me discussing our private matters in front of the entire family. I replayed the message, shaking my head at his foolishness. He was humiliated and furious. The irony was nearly unbearable. This wasn't just my concern. He had betrayed our familial ties. And yet, I didn't reply. Eric didn't deserve a justification, nor an explanation for his behavior. He should be allowed to wallow in his shame. I wasn't interested in his version of events, which was probably laced with self-pity. That evening, Monica showed up. Her hair was unkempt, her makeup smudged, but her eyes were blazing, like a drumbeat of defiance. Her heels clicked against the hardwood floor. We need to talk, she insisted. I leaned against the counter, crossing my arms. Talk? I asked, my voice steady. You embarrassed me in front of everyone, she spat. I raised an eyebrow. You've embarrassed yourself. You stood in front of our family and revealed that you were having an affair with Eric. All I did was give the facts, Monica. Don't mistake publicity for humiliation. She tried to argue, her voice rising with every sentence, but I didn't fall for it. My composed manner alone intensified her rage, and before long, she started throwing insults. "You're pathetic," she yelled. I laughed sourly. "Monica, always playing the victim? I'm not a victim, Monica. I'm the man who finally decided to stop putting up with your lies." She stormed out, slamming the door behind her. "You might want to jot that down for your memoir," I muttered, as her car pulled out of the driveway. And then silence, for the first time in months. The house was quiet. I poured myself a drink, sinking into the couch. Monica and Eric's betrayal had been painful, but now that the dust had settled, I finally felt in control. For the first time, I wasn't just surviving. I was winning. Over the next few days, I ignored the texts, the calls, the pleas from family members trying to mediate. Monica's parents, of course, tried to excuse her behavior. "She's under a lot of stress," they reasoned. "Stress doesn't justify betrayal," I responded simply. She made her choices. Now she had to live with them. The real turning point came when I met with my lawyer. With every piece of evidence, Monica's adultery, reckless spending, the messages, I built an airtight case. I was done playing defense. It was time to go on the offensive. Eric's life was unraveling too. His wife, Sarah, had already filed for divorce. Mutual friends were dropping him like dead weight. I should have felt pity, but I didn't. He made his bed. Now he had to lie in it. The house was finally mine again. I cleared out Monica's belongings, one box at a time. With each sealed package, I reclaimed a bit of myself. Eric, of course, kept trying to reach me. His messages bounced between guilt and rage. "Man, we need to talk. This has gotten out of hand." I ignored it, just like I ignored the 6 voicemails. He'd left since the BBQ. There was nothing to discuss. I sat at my kitchen table, my lawyer Nathan meticulously laying out the steps for a swift and final divorce. The evidence, clinic results, bank statements, text messages, it was all ironclad. Monica would have little room to argue. This wasn't just about winning a case. It was about dismantling the false reality Monica and Eric had created. The first step, freezing our joint accounts. Nathan helped me obtain a court order barring Monica from accessing a single cent. I wasn't going to let her fund her little escapades with my money. The house? Legally mine. When Monica realized what had happened, she exploded. One afternoon, she stormed into the house uninvited, slamming her bag against the kitchen counter. "What the hell, Marcus? I can't access any of our accounts," she shrieked. I sipped my coffee calmly. "They're not our accounts anymore, Monica. You gave up that right when you chose to fund your affair with Eric. You're punishing me because you can't handle the fact that our marriage is over," she snapped. I put my drink down and met her glare. "No, Monica. I'm making you answer for what you did." She tried to argue, throwing out every excuse, every insult, but her words bounced off me like rain on a windshield. I was done. The next step? Making sure Monica's infidelity was front and center in the divorce proceedings.